It's such a privilege for me to introduce Dr. Marsha Jones to each of you today, and Mr. Hartzell Jones. These two phenomenal educators have been partners with me throughout my career in Springdale. They are two of the finest educators I've not only had the privilege to work with, but the privilege to know. They are consumed by their work, their commitment to Springdale kids, their commitment to help this school system go forward. Mr. Jones was the first member that I asked to join our central office team when I became superintendent of schools here. And he and I served together for well over 30 years. Dr. Jones followed shortly after that. Her focus has always been curriculum instruction. Without question, she's one of the finest educational leaders that I have ever known. She's a voracious reader. She's always ahead of the educational initiatives that might be emerging, not just in our district, but in our state and at the national level. And she made contributions, enormous contributions, on all of those levels. What phenomenal educational team members they are. What an asset they've been to the Springdale schools. What a model of excellence that each of them have provided for us. I'm so very proud to have had the privilege to serve with them.
Well, when Marsha came, she was the head of the special ed department, and she moved in, and when I first got to meet her, because I was a counselor here, we had a lot of interaction together, and I was impressed with her knowledge and her friendliness and her real exuberance when talking about students.
She is from, I know, 100 years of educators, and I think it's naturally in our blood for her to be an educator as well.
Dr. Rollins, I was here a year and had some really great experiences, met really great people through the special education role that I played. But then at the end of that year, he invited me to come down and interview to be an assistant superintendent, and I said, no, I don't think you want me. I think you really need a director. I might do that. I don't know how to be an assistant superintendent yet. And that's the kind of faith that you just really appreciate, because he said, yes, I think you can do this.
Luckily, at the time that I started working in that position in 1983, our growth spurt had not hit at a major level at that time. We were just gradually growing. So I had a chance to ease into the position before those huge growth spurts started occurring.
For Hartzell, just the solid determination and just the steadfastness that he brought to this district. There's a lot of turmoil and change in Springdale. You know, I remember the conversations about opening up the second high school, and the fact that he was always centered in the conversation about what are we doing, what's best for kids.
I think both of them really understood the transformative value of education, and they saw that in their own lives. I really didn't acknowledge that they had those roles in school, just because you know, people were always surprised. They would say, oh, is that your mom? And I'd be like, well, yeah, it is.
Part of it is when you're in the younger grades, I don't think I really noticed it as much. When we moved here and I was in elementary school, it was a job for my mom that she was doing. I knew she worked in the district, but I don't know if I really appreciated all the things she was doing.
It was an honor being Dr. Jones's child within the school system, especially as I got older, because you could obviously see the respect that she had from her fellow principals and teachers.
It feels very good to know that you have a legacy that's being put in place by your family. And it's really a humbling experience to be able to go in and see their service and their dedication that they gave to the schools and to the community.
I always considered it my job to make other people look good, not me. I thought that was my mission. That's what I should be doing.
I noticed that he really cared for his faculty and cared for the people around him. He's not one to talk a whole lot.
You know, they say that still waters run deep, and I think that's probably true. While he's quiet, I think there's a lot of reflection going on.
You know, he's just a straight, up and up guy that, you know, what you see is what you get, and you know, you can be comfortable around him because you don't have to worry that what's his agenda or what he's really getting at.
for Mom, she was always a proponent of not only the regular academic of science, math, English, and social studies, but she was a huge proponent of the arts as well. So she allowed those conversations to happen, saying, you know, well, we've got to reach every child. How are we going to do that? It's not always going to be through math and science. It's not always going to be through English.
Marsha loves the arts. She loves the art and the theater and the plays.
Where I work now, we work in the communications building at the Springdale schools. And I think about the decisions that were made by like Harvey and Bernice Jones. I didn't even know who they were 30-something years ago, and now here I am benefiting from some of the positions that they set in place. So with that kind of backdrop, when I look at Hartzell and Marsha Jones, and they're being the cornerstone recipients of this award, what really is important is the inroads that they built, the foundations that they built, the pathways that they built that has allowed thousands of people to have a much better opportunity at life.
Well, the fact that she's won all these recognitions and awards, those are all products of the things that she has definitely earned and well received. But I think for her, those would just be the outcomes of what she would do naturally anyway.
Probably when I left, I had hired everyone in the district. Now that would be almost 1,500 teachers, but the ones who came on that were there before I got this job had retired or had moved on. So basically everyone who was left 2 years ago came through my office.
When Marsha and Hartzell retired, he set up a scholarship fund. And I thought how wonderful that was, that he did that he would go on and hope that other young people could get education, because an education to Hartzell was very, very important.
Work recognizing our future, supporting students, that we call it the Scholarship of Promise and Potential, that allows someone that's already had their experiences of life to say, now we're going to put some confidence in you. We're going to encourage you through this gift so that you can go pursue your dreams. That's what I love about the foundation.
You know, I think ultimately they wanted to leave the situation better than what they found it. The legacy that they're going to leave is going to be a long and lasting one based on all of the work that they did over the last, let's say 35 years.
So the one thing that I want them to be able to have is a moment of clarity to realize how many tens of thousands of people's lives that they have changed and made better.